SpaceX is probably the biggest influence in the space industry in the last decade. The company has given new meaning to spaceflight with innovative technology, daring rocket launches, and a genuine sense of possibility for interplanetary travel. The Falcon 9 is the most successful reusable rocket in the world, and Starship is gearing up to dwarf the Saturn V in more ways than one. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at how SpaceX transformed space exploration. SpaceX has come a long way since its inception in 2002, with a simple goal of creating reusable rockets and commercial space flights at a time when many thought it was impossible. Elon Musk has grown his company beyond even the capabilities of NASA and other veteran space agencies. The success of the Falcon 9 rocket and the Crew Dragon capsule still remain unmatched and have helped shape the entire global space industry. SpaceX has shaped space exploration in so many ways, some of which we'll be touching on in this video. SpaceX has amassed quite a record of launching one historic flight after another, and they show no signs of stopping. The company remains NASA's go-to company for orbital flights and launching astronauts to the International Space Station. But it wasn't an easy task beating out other space companies for contracts. SpaceX was initially awarded a contract by NASA to develop the Crew Dragon capsule alongside Boeing's Starliner capsule. But despite having a much smaller budget of $2.5 billion compared to Boeing's $4.2 billion, SpaceX was the first to launch a successful mission on the Crew Dragon capsule. On May 30th of 2020, SpaceX became the first private aerospace company to launch NASA astronauts to the International Space Station, the first of such a mission on American soil in over 10 years. The historic mission marked NASA's final dependence on the Russian Soyuz rockets to ferry its astronauts to the International Space Station. SpaceX also made history with the Falcon 9 as it became the world's first partially reusable rocket able to launch and land autonomously on a launch pad. The Falcon 9 is also the only operational rocket to successfully complete over 100 autonomous landings on a launch pad. This has opened the way for the possibility of reusable rockets to a much larger extent by SpaceX. And not much can be said about other aerospace companies and agencies. SpaceX has played a key role in making rocket launches more than just sci-fi movie moments by opening up its launch operations in full view of the public. Before SpaceX opened up Starbase in Boca Chica, Texas, rocket launches were a rare sight to the public, being few and far between to begin with. Launches were mostly made from the Kennedy Space Center, with the agency having complete control over which parts of the launches were televised and available to the public. But SpaceX has completely changed the game, with Elon Musk frequently updating the public on the state and progress of each launch mission. SpaceX offers high-definition video footage of each launch mission, both at the Kennedy Space Center and at Boca Chica. Each launch is also live-streamed, with live updates and statistics on the progress of each launch mission. The areas surrounding the Boca Chica launch site are also open for spectators and rocket fans to see each launch sequence live and in person. This has opened up the space industry in such a dynamic way that everyday people now have a broader understanding with transparent information on rocket launches and space programs. Space tourism has been a floated term long before SpaceX was ever founded, but a vague idea that many believed would be next to impossible to achieve. Well, SpaceX has pushed the boundary for that as well, with recent rocket launches into low Earth orbit carrying civilians for the first time ever. SpaceX recently launched the Inspiration 4 mission founded by billionaire Jared Isaacman, along with 3 other civilians, making the very first all-civilian spaceflight in history and opening the door for other civilian spaceflights. The mission was put together for charity and launched on board SpaceX's Crew Dragon Resilience capsule, circling the Earth for almost 3 days. The mission reached altitudes of 367 miles above the planet, much higher than the International Space Station, which floats at a 250-mile altitude. This marked the highest altitude any human has reached in over 20 years. SpaceX's successful mission with the Inspiration 4 has sparked other such space tourism missions, with the forthcoming Dear Moon mission, financed by Japanese billionaire Yusaku Maezawa. The mission intends to take 8 crew members in addition to Maezawa on a trip around the moon. The mission is projected to kick off sometime in 2023 and would no doubt make history upon its completion. Meanwhile, SpaceX is currently flying astronauts to and from the International Space Station, as well as other private companies and individuals. In April, the Crew Dragon was contracted by a Houston-based company, Axiom Space, which saw 4 scientists to a 16-day stay on board the International Space Station. With these missions, SpaceX's launch vehicles and spacecraft have put more humans into space than any other private space company, further widening the possibilities of space exploration. The main goal behind SpaceX is to build reusable rockets and make commercial space flights more affordable and accessible to the public. That dream is still alive even today, as SpaceX launches the reusable Falcon 9 rockets as well as the Crew Dragon capsule, both of which operate at much lower costs than their competitors. This is evident in the cost of a seat on SpaceX's Crew Dragon, which costs about $55 million, as revealed by NASA's Office of the Inspector General. This cost is significantly cheaper than the cost of a single astronaut seat on Boeing's Starliner, which is estimated to cost around $90 million. Although Starliner is yet to be fully functional, SpaceX's launch cost is still considerably cheaper than a seat on the Russian Soyuz rockets, which cost NASA $85 million per astronaut for the 9 years the agency depended on the Russian rocket. The same can be said for the cost of launching payload on board the Falcon 9 rocket, which SpaceX sells for about $62 million. For comparison, SpaceX's major competitor, United Launch Alliance, charges a little over $100 million for the same service on board the Atlas V rocket. It's important to note also that the Falcon 9 has launched over 130 successful missions in the last 6 years, while the Atlas V has a little over 81 successful launches in over 12 years. SpaceX also offers a rideshare option for several customers looking to split the bill for a single launch. You might be wondering how SpaceX is able to keep their launch cost much lower than their competition, and the answer lies with Elon Musk. The billionaire revealed that SpaceX is only able to maintain cost-efficient launches by avoiding certain common industry practices, such as outsourcing and contracting. Musk revealed that SpaceX produces most of its rocket engine and design components in-house instead of outsourcing the way other space companies do. SpaceX has successfully built its supply chain of rocket engines, such as its famed Raptor engines and other electronic components vital to building its rockets. This has made the company less dependent on external contractors for vital parts that may otherwise drive up the cost of production. This can be seen with other aerospace companies like United Launch Alliance, which uses the BE-4 engine designed by Blue Origin for its Vulcan Centaur launch rocket. This has also led to impressive innovations and technological breakthroughs in rocket science, which puts SpaceX at the forefront of the space industry. For instance, SpaceX has incorporated just one set of fuel tanks for its propellants in its two-stage rockets, as opposed to conventional rockets that use up to 3 sets of propellants for different stages of flight. This has not only led to better fuel efficiency and technology, but also a significant reduction in propellant cost. This overall reduced cost of launch has already influenced the possibility of more frequent rocket launches in the future. Elon Musk had reiterated that he intends to have operational costs for each flight as low as $2 million. Probably the most significant impact SpaceX has had on space exploration is the reusability of its rockets. SpaceX is able to recover and reuse the first stages of its prized rockets, the Falcon Heavy and the Falcon 9. The rockets can return the boosters back to the launch pad for vertical landings after detaching from the upper payload stage. Impressively, this can either be done on land or autonomous drone ships in the ocean, a feat still only accomplished by SpaceX. The rockets can be reused soon after landing, able to complete multiple trips each day if the need arises. This is vital for future launches, as reusable rockets will enable several launch missions daily, a milestone made possible by the Falcon 9 and pioneered by SpaceX. Presently, the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy rockets are only partially reusable, with the upper stage still discarded after use. But this is all set to change with the completion of Starship, which will be the world's first fully reusable rocket. Interestingly, the Super Heavy booster stage of Starship won't actually be touching back down once it returns to the launch pad, but it will actually be caught mid-air by a set of electronic tower hands designed by SpaceX. This eliminates the need for landing legs for the Super Heavy, further reducing the cost of production even more. The reusability of Starship and other SpaceX rockets has made a return mission to the Moon feasible and a Mars mission more likely than ever before. This speaks volumes of the impact of SpaceX on space exploration, and simply put, we probably wouldn't be considering a Mars mission in the next 10 years if not for the incredible impact of SpaceX.